With the countdown getting extremely close to All In Wembley at the end of August, there's not much time left, but we do have one more pit stop on the road to All In, and that is Redemption this weekend. A pay-per-view that really came out of nowhere and was seemingly all just for one match that isn't actually happening on the show now, as it was rumored that this would have been where Kenny Omega would have defeated MJF for the world title in a redemption arc of sorts, setting up Omega Ospreay at All In. But that's not the case now. They had their match on Dynamite a couple of weeks ago, and now we've still got Redemption. So let's not waste any time and get into the rundown. If you've seen a rundown before, you know how this works. I go through all the matches on the card off of Wikipedia. I give my thoughts on the matches, and then I go back through giving my predictions on the matches as a whole. So let's not waste any time now and get in, starting with the first match on the card here is Mark Davis versus Andrade El Idolo for the AEW National Championship, a championship that I completely forgot existed because AEW has way too many mid-card belts. That being said, though, this is going to be a solid match because Mark Davis is great and so's Andrade. And since Andrade turned on the Don Callis family, becoming a babyface after Forbidden Door, and is set to be one of AEW's next main eventers. But just at the moment, there is too many big names going into All In. So I think on the back burner of this year, maybe going into next year, Andrade will definitely be a top main eventer. But this seems like a perfect starter feud for him, coming out of the Don Callis family and now as a babyface fighting Mark Davis. This is going to be, like I said, a really fun match. Next, we have Hikaru Shida versus May Weld for the AEW TBS Championship. May Weld has made very much a great impact thanks to the Owen Hart Classic and getting exposure on TV and pay-per-view. So this is another great opportunity for her, and it's great to see more women's matches on pay-per-views from AEW than just the world title match. Shida's heel character is very interesting, and I will be interested to see how Chris Statlander, if she does, play a role in this match. Next up is Kyle Fletcher versus Bandido, a match that is potentially going to be match of the night for me for the International Championship, with Bandido on the climb up. And like I've said before, until he drops that Ring of Honor world title, he isn't going to get the ultimate push that he deserves. But he keeps getting good show-ins on pay-per-views and on AEW TV to get him over with the crowd. And this isn't going to be any different. And Kyle is going to be great. But the outcome is probably going to be quite obvious, considering Cole only just beat Takeshita for the championship. And looking forward, it's clear that we are heading towards a Kyle Fletcher Okada match because of Okada being the former champion before losing it to Takeshita, and tensions are starting to boil. Following that, we have Edge and Christian versus the Death Riders of Claudio Castelloni and Pac for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. This should be a great match. I love Edge and Christian, and Claudio and Pac are two of the best wrestlers in AEW and deserve so much more. So them being here, this is going to be a stellar match. This is going to be a hard-hitting, great match. So yeah. Plus, it's giving Pac more time on screen, so I'm happy with that. But we'll have to see where things go, considering what might be happening at All In for the Tag Team Championships. Following that, we have the Death Riders again, of this time of Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks, just in a straight up singles tag team match. This is going to be interesting because considering where we're heading, Will versus Kenny, spoilers for who I'm predicting later in the world title match, we're heading for obviously Will versus Kenny at All In at Wembley, and will obviously be winning there. But it's what's going to be happening when we come out of All In. That's the interesting fact. They're still pushing this partnership of Mox and Ospreay. Now, I think we're looking at maybe on the Dynamite after All In, we're going to be doing a similar Bryan Danielson thing of Mox is turning on Ospreay and kicking him out of the Death Riders and turning on him to bring us to that inevitable Mox versus Ospreay feud. So I see this as just a filler for the pair of them until All In, as much as, like I said, this pay-per-view is just that last pit stop before we get to All In. So what do we have here? We just have a great match. This is going to be a great match, and potentially, like I said, like the Kyle Bandido match, this also could be match of the night. But it's obvious who's winning. It's just here to keep plates spinning until All In. Following that, we have Tommaso Ciampa versus the Painmaker, Chris Jericho. Yes, Chris Jericho returned to his Painmaker gimmick, and now we're getting these two in a no-holds-barred match. The Painmaker gimmick is not good, guys. It was all right when he first brought it out in New Japan about 10 years ago, but it's not as over as Jericho thinks. And this match here is just so Jericho can get his win back after Beach Break, where Tommaso beat him in their match. This is all it is. It is just a rematch so Jericho can get his win back. But this is a Jericho feud in AEW, so expect the feud to carry on for another 4 to 8 months, with Jericho still getting wins. And then in our penultimate match of the evening, we have Tekla versus Willow Nightingale for the AEW Women's World Championship match. Honestly, this is the most interesting match on the entire card for me, as we know that it's Mercedes Moné versus the winner of this women's world title match at All In. We know that is 100%. And it is most likely going to be Tekla. But Willow was reportedly the favourite to win the whole women's side of the Owen Cup before she had to drop out due to injury. So the fact that she's getting a world title match here is still paying off on her potential winning it. But could there be shenanigans involved in this and a rare DQ to lead to something bigger at All In? We'll have to wait and see. And this brings us to our main event of the evening of Kenny Omega versus Kevin Knight for the AEW World Championship. After Knight was wanted a world title match from MJF and was promised it, but now there's no MJF. Kenny is taking up that mantle and is giving Kevin the opportunity. This to me is just straight copy and paste, and not in a bad way. Please do not take this as in a bad way, because it is a great opportunity for Kevin Knight. It is a copy and paste of last All-Ins. Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher for the world title, where Kyle was the TNT champion and was going up against the world title champion to get the spotlight put on him in the main event and really help elevate him up. And this is going to be, like I said, copy and paste. This is the exact same thought process, but with Kevin Knight, and this is going to be great. Yes, we know who's winning here, but that doesn't matter. If you can, even when the match outcome is predictable, you can still twist and turns can make the crowd believe that it might not happen. Even though the crowd knows the outcome, you can still play with their emotions. And this is going to be a great match. And hopefully, we'll give the spotlight on Kevin Knight and elevate him up through the card. Predictions time. Time to go back through the top and go all the way through to the main event again, giving my predictions. Beginning with the AEW National Championship match of Mark Davis versus Andrade. Honestly, why not? Because AEW have got way too many mid-card belts. Give it to Andrade. Really solidify him as the next over babyface coming out of the Don Callis family. Yes, Mark Davis hasn't had it for as long as probably he should have, but there's too many mid-card belts, and some of them are lower mid-card belts, and that's what the National Championship is, I'm afraid. But it would do great for Andrade to get a win over the Don Callis family coming out of it to keep that momentum. So my prediction is Andrade El Idolo wins the AEW National Championship. Then we've got Hikaru Shida versus May Weld for the TBS Championship. And I honestly think, as much as May Weld is getting a really good spotlight on her and is getting exposure, she's going to lose this match because I reckon Chris Statlander might play a role in the ending of this, may accidentally cause May Weld to lose, setting up potentially at All In or potentially further down the line or on a special episode of Dynamite, Shida versus Statlander for the TBS Championship. I think that's where we're heading. So yeah, Hikaru Shida to retain the TBS Championship. Then we have Kyle Fletcher versus Bandido for the AEW International Championship. This isn't going to be a hard one for me. It's Kyle Fletcher. He only just won it a handful of weeks ago, the same night as Kenny won the world title, beating Takeshita. And like I said, we are heading towards that Okada match with Fletcher with the tensions boiling. And that might be at All In. So nothing against Bandido, but he's not winning here. Kyle Fletcher to retain the International Championship for me. Then we get the AEW World Tag Team Championship match of Edge and Christian versus Claudio and Pac of the Death Riders. As much as love the challengers, it's going to be Edge and Christian retaining here. Because I reckon the Edge and Christian are going to be walking into All In, defending their tag belts in some sort of ladder match, a multi-man ladder match, considering their history with the ladder match, or TLC, I should say, on a big stage. I think that's where we're heading. So they're going to retain here and walk into All In as the champs. That brings us on to the other Death Riders match of Jon Moxley versus Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. John and Will here, because it's clearly just spinning plates and you want to keep Will's momentum heading into All In, and you want that tension between Mox and Will also still there. So yeah. Then we get the no holds barred match of Painmaker Chris Jericho versus Tommaso Ciampa. Like I said in my thoughts, this is just a rematch so Jericho can get his win back. So yeah, Chris Jericho to win here. I've got nothing else to say about this match. It's just yet another Jericho feud. This brings us to, like I said, my most anticipated match with the potential outcome that I very much like. It's Tekla versus Willow Nightingale for the AEW Women's World Championship. And I honestly think that Willow is going to win here, by disqualification. I think Mercedes Moné is going to interfere in this match and we're going to end up getting a rare disqualification end to this match, which will lead to, at All In, Tekla defending her Women's World Championship against the winner of the Owen Hart Classic, Mercedes Moné, and Willow Nightingale in a triple threat match. And as we know, triple threat matches on the big stages are brilliant. Why not? This would be great. And you could still have Mercedes be crowned champ at All In, but you'll have an awesome three-way match between Willow, Tekla, and Mercedes. Yes, it's at the cost of this match, but like I said, it's clear they're looking past Redemption to All In. So yeah, Willow Nightingale to win here, but by disqualification, not walking out as champion. And this brings us to the main event of Kevin Knight versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega to win here because it's clear that we are heading to Kenny versus Will. They've announced it. It's the match that everyone wants. It's the big match where Will be crowned. Nothing against Kevin here. He's going to get the spotlight put on him and hopefully the momentum he can then take and he can build upon. But yeah, Kenny Omega to retain the World Heavyweight Championship here. And that's my rundown of AEW Redemption this Sunday. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out my past videos. My AEW Double or Nothing video, even though it is a bit late, is very close to being finished and will be uploaded very soon. Also, I will be doing something for All In. I don't know 100% what it will be, but I will have some sort of coverage for All In. So until next time, thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos and keep checking out for future uploads. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.